I didn't find out from her. I found out from a stranger's photo. A glossy save-the-date card posted online. A smiling couple, her sister and her groom. The date circled in gold. The words, "Join us for our special day." Everyone was invited. Cousins, friends, co-workers, family I hadn't seen in years. Everyone except me. When I asked my wife, she didn't even flinch. "It's not about you," she said flatly. Her exact words, "Don't make it about you." And then she went back to scrolling, like I was a child throwing a tantrum over spilled milk. That's when something inside me snapped, quietly, invisibly. Not the kind of snap that leaves holes in walls or words shouted across a kitchen. The kind that hardens into silence, into planning. It's not like I didn't try. I'd been with her for 7 years, through debt, through illness, through nights when she cried over her family's chaos and I held her until morning. I was the one paying for her mother's treatments when her father disappeared. The one holding her hand when she thought her life was falling apart. I thought marriage meant partnership, that even if her family was twisted, we were stronger. But loyalty, I've learned, isn't tested in comfort. It's tested in fire. And when the flames came, she pushed me into them without blinking. The signs were there. The sudden nights out with her sister, the whispered phone calls she ended when I walked in, the way her family avoided my eyes when I passed them at gatherings. Still, I gave her trust. Until that night. The night she told me, smiling, almost relieved, that I wasn't welcome at the wedding. That it would make things easier for everyone if I just stayed home. I stared at her, at the woman I married, and all I said was, "Okay," because I already knew what came next. Planning was the only thing that kept me sane. Not revenge at first, just clarity. I studied, watched, listened. I learned which vendors they booked, which relatives were flying in, which venues they toured. I watched my wife sneak around with her sister, treating their secrets like some forbidden treasure. But I wasn't angry, not anymore. I was calm, too calm. See, the cruelest betrayals don't deserve shouting. They deserve silence and precision. So I began to sketch something of my own. A stage, a spectacle, my redemption, hidden in plain sight. The first move was money. I liquidated what I could without raising suspicion. Sold assets she didn't even know I owned. Investments from before we married. I booked a venue under a pseudonym, a seaside estate, glass walls opening onto the horizon. The second move was timing. I chose my date with surgical care. 2 weeks after their wedding. Close enough for comparison. Close enough that the echoes would still sting. The third move was silence. I told no one, not friends, not family, not even the vendors knew the whole picture. Each one thought it was just another private event. And my wife? She thought I was broken, that I'd sulk at home while she paraded on her sister's arm. She mistook silence for surrender. That was her mistake. Their wedding day came. I wasn't there, of course. She didn't even send photos. But others did. I saw everything through 100 shaky live streams, the cheap floral arch, the clumsy speeches, the forced laughter. I watched her on screen, sitting at her sister's side, glass of champagne in hand, grinning like nothing was wrong, like I never existed. And I smiled too, because I knew what waited just around the corner. 2 weeks later, the seaside air smelled like salt and smoke from torches. The estate glittered against the horizon. I stood at the center of it all, tailored suit, calm heartbeat. And then, one by one, they arrived. Not my friends, not my family. Hers. Her sister, her new husband, their parents. The same cousins, co-workers, distant relatives who had laughed and danced at that wedding 2 weeks earlier. How? Simple. A carefully worded invitation, mailed under her name, not mine. A message that suggested it was a surprise vow renewal. That she and I wanted to celebrate, to start fresh, to gather everyone once more by the sea. And of course, people came, curious, intrigued, excited, because people love a spectacle. When she walked in, the color drained from her face. She hadn't known, not until that moment. The ocean behind me, the cameras rolling, the guests whispering. I raised my glass, calm as stone. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming to witness something special. The hush was instant. I pulled a small remote from my pocket. A click. Screens lit up around the terrace. And then the footage began. Not grainy, not stolen. Crystal clear clips of her. Phone calls recorded, messages recovered. Her laughter with her sister as they mocked me, plotted to cut me out, discussed how he'll just get over it. Every word she thought was buried, I had unearthed. Every secret now projected 30 feet high. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Her parents turned stone-faced. Her sister stammered. The groom shifted uncomfortably, and my wife? She just stood there, frozen, lips parted but no sound coming out. I didn't shout, didn't rage, I just let silence strangle her. When the footage ended, I set down the remote. This, I said evenly, is what loyalty meant to her. To them, to all of you who smiled while I was erased. I walked away from the microphone, the torches casting my shadow long across the terrace. Behind me, murmurs turned to judgment. Guests whispered, phones came out. Within minutes, it was everywhere, recorded, shared, dissected online. Not their wedding, mine, my stage, my truth. By morning, the videos had spread across every platform. Headlines called it the SEASIDE Confession. Millions watched, millions judged. And her? She became a ghost in her own story. No excuses, no escape. Just silence. Do I regret it? No. Regret belongs to those who lose. I gave her every chance. I gave her loyalty, years, love that asked for nothing but respect. She gave me betrayal in return. So I gave her immortality. Not the kind etched in stone, but the kind burned into memory. Everyone was invited to her sister's wedding. Everyone was invited to my reckoning. And only one of those will be remembered.